my fellow Whovians, and welcome to my latest Doctor Who review, where today I review Doctor Who Pyramids of Mars, starring Tom Baker as the fourth Doctor. Okay, so Pyramids of Mars. This is the third serial of season 13, so we're about halfway through the series now. And yeah, the only appearance of the villain Sutekh. In a Victorian Gothic mansion, strange things are afoot. The master of the house, away in Egypt, has been replaced by a sinister Egyptian. Cloth-wrapped mummies roam the grounds, killing people. Beneath a pyramid, the last of the Osirans, Sutekh the Destroyer, waits to be freed, to at long last bring his gift of death to all who live. There we go, that is the central premise of Pyramids of Mars. So, Pyramids of Mars. This is a story that is regarded as a classic in the Doctor Who fandom, and I can totally see why. I really enjoyed this story. I think this is a fantastic story, and definitely one of my favourites so far from the Tom Baker era. What's great about this story is that it basically is classic Doctor Who. It is everything you could ever want in a Doctor Who story. It's got drama, it's got suspense, it's got even some sweet moments there. And it's just generally very fantastic. It's very well designed as well. I think the production design is superb. The mansion itself looks pretty cool, but also the design of the pyramid itself and Sutekh's lair, I should say, is very well done. It all looks terrific, and considering they're on a smaller budget, it's done rather well. I mean, yes, some of the effects are a little dated, but, you know, that's bound to happen, isn't it? You know, by this point. I really like the story, and I really like the villain. I mean, the villain is what really stands out by the story. Sutekh is a terrific Doctor Who villain. I love the design of Sutekh as well, how he's wearing this... he almost looks a bit like... this is going to sound strange. He looks a little bit like one of the Knights of Ren from Star Wars, except he's got like he wears like a black robe with red all over, and then he's got a big mask which has red as well. And then when he gets angry, his eyes light up green. So he's quite freaky. And the actor who voices him, who plays him, let me find out. The actor who plays Sutekh is Gabriel Wolfe. He's terrific, and I love the voice. I really wish they would bring this guy back. I really wish that Sutekh would have come back in the show. I mean, perhaps they might do it in the future, but I'm not watching the current series of the show at the moment. But yeah, no, he's a terrific presence. We don't see much of him in the first half of the story, but in the second half of the story, he really comes into the story and is a big part of the drama. Before that, we get Marcus Scarman, who is kind of his servant. I can't remember the servant's name, like Hodor or something like that, is being puppeteered by Marcus Scarman. And the actor who plays Marcus Scarman, Bernard Archard, is also very good. And I love the pale makeup that they give on his face, and he's very freaky. There's an especially chilling moment when he actually kills a couple of people as well. He kills Dr. Warlock, who's a friend of his, and that's quite a chilling sequence. And when the mummies also are involved in killing him. But also, Marcus kills his own brother, Lawrence, who is a professor who does help the Doctor and Sarah in the first half of the story. And that's quite a sad sequence. And I do like the character of Marcus... Sorry, not Marcus. The character of Lawrence, who is... He's grieving for his brother. He just wants his brother back. And the Doctor is trying to tell him that his brother is gone and is dead. And he needs to move on and realise that if he doesn't move on and realise what's happening, then he's going to die. And he does die. And then the Doctor's rather callous about it. And he's like, well, I did say to him, you know, he shouldn't have worried about his brother because his brother was dead. And Sarah Jane tries to call him out on that. But she's like, sometimes you can be so... And then he's like, human? Well, yes. Well, there's a moment where Sarah Jane calls him out on Marcus's... there's a moment when Sarah Jane calls the Doctor out on his remark about Lawrence's death. She says, sometimes you can be so... And he says, alien? Yes, well, that's it, yeah. So the Doctor's very very callous in his attitude, but he has a point. If Lawrence, had moved on a bit sooner, he would still be alive. But it is a very chilling sequence, and there's a little bit of tension there at certain points. But that's what this story does really well. The story is paced incredibly well. It's brisk for 4 parts long. It moves, it flies by, it doesn't drag. It's just great entertainment to watch. There's other characters, like the characters of Collins and Ahmed, who are brief characters. They're good. They're good in the story. Also, the mummies, the kind of robotic mummy creatures, are very scary, and they do kill quite a few people in this story. There's a lot of deaths in this Doctor Who story. This particular story is saddled with a lot of death, but that raises the stakes. I think the script for this story is really quite good. There's also a nice moment when Sarah Jane first appears in the story, and she's wearing Victoria's dress. That's Victoria, not Vicky from the William Hartnell era. Victoria from the Patrick Troughton era. She's wearing the same dress that she wore once. I can't remember which story it was, but she did wear this white dress, and Sarah wears that for the story, which, I mean, it's a nice reference, but yeah, I mean, it doesn't have any major impact on the story, but it's a nice callback, I guess. The acting is superb. I've already talked about the supporting cast, but Tom Baker is fantastic as the Doctor. He gets a lot more moments in this story than the previous one, so he gets a great amount to shine. He's much more serious in this one. He doesn't have as many humorous moments. He does have a couple, but this story he's much more up against it, especially towards the end of the story when he's in the pyramid and then Sutekh nearly defeats him, and he gets a bit concerned about that. And again, as I said, he's rather cold with Sarah about Lawrence's death. But Tom Baker is it's hard not to love Tom Baker in this role. And Elizabeth Sladen is, again, awesome as Sarah Jane. She's always really good. She's brilliant, and she really gets involved in the story. She even fires a gun at one point in this story, which is interesting. And the Doctor actually dresses up as one of those mummy creatures, and he takes the coordinates from Marcus, and then Sarah Jane tries to destroy them, but it doesn't seem to work. But there's a lot of great moments in this story, and the script by... Who wrote this story? Stephen Harris. I've never heard of this guy before, but this script is very good, and it's just a ton of fun. I love this story, and I love the whole ancient Egyptian vibe that this story gives off. I think it's really good, and it's something a bit different. We haven't been to Egypt. Well, I know this story doesn't technically go to Egypt, but we haven't had this kind of an Egyptian vibe since, I don't know, I mean, the Daleks' Master Plan. I mean, that was with William Hartnell. I can't remember in Patrick Troughton or John Pertwee's era if they ever had a ancient Egyptian type story. I don't think they did. I don't think they did. Well, I mean, if I am wrong, then please correct me, because I'm not very good at remembering all that stuff. Yeah. And the director, Paddy Russell, does a great job directing the story. He keeps it brisk, he keeps it tight, and it's much more engaging, much more intriguing, and there is much more of a narrative than the previous story, The Planet of Evil, which I thought was a bit of a drag, to be honest. So, yeah, I don't have much else to say about this one. I think it's a really, really well done story, and I don't really have any criticisms of the story. I'm going to give Pyramids of Mars a perfect 10 out of 10. Yeah, so that's my review of Pyramids of Mars. I really do like this one. I think it's a great one. And yeah, so next time on Doctor Who Review, we are going to look at the Android Invasion, which is another 4-part story, which is the 4th serial of season 13. And it would be the final appearance of John Benton and Harry Sullivan in the classic series, which is interesting. So I look forward to that. So yeah, Pyramids of Mars, that's my review. Please leave your comments down below and let me know what you think. And stay tuned next time when I review the Android Invasion. So until next time, I'm Mr. Tyler Sullivan. See you soon.